Hey, how you doing? This is Mike on the south side with Chicago Less Lethal. And in today's video, we're going to show you how to do some tube strengthening on the Umarex valve assemblies. And without further ado, let's get the video started. So to strengthen these newer crimp tubes, which everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people had problems with, we're going to show you how to strengthen the tube. So we're going to go through the parts list first. Recommend a Dremel tool with some type of a sanding device. Like this one here works great. Metal and plastic pick. Longer Allen wrench or longer dowel rod or something. A 90 Duro O-ring. Some lube. Some Gorilla hardener and resins, kind of like JB Weld, but Gorilla glue type. Long Q-tips or some type of a Q-tip that you could tape to a pencil or something. Obviously this, Loctite 680, we all know we're going to need that. And then you're going to need some grub screws, either 6/32 or 4/40. And then I would recommend like 4 of either one. And then you'll need the drill bits, the 440 obviously. When you buy this pack, it tells you the number or the package to buy the bit with. I think it's that number right there actually. And here's the other one, 6/32, so whichever one you want. And maybe a little bit of black touch-up paint. And what else? Oh, pipe up tube. You're gonna need that. So that's your parts list, and the main reason you'll be doing this type of a upgrade is for the crimped tubes only. Now all the hdr68 and hdb68 are gonna have this crimped tube no matter what. Now I know Umarex just came out with their new triple reinforced, but we're going to show you Chicago Less Lethal's triple reinforced. And some of these I'm probably still going to do with the new tube. There has not been any testing done with the new tubes. I know certain people are going to be testing them. I'm going to obviously be testing them when I get them. So we'll go from there. But I'm still going to do some of these modifications and upgrades, and I'm going to show you why. So the first thing you do is, and this is the older threaded version, hdp50 and hdr50 will have this. If you can find these on your hdp and hdr50, get these. Then you won't have to worry about what I'm going to do for those two markers. Now, we do have a bunch of these in stock, so give us a call if you're interested in having a marker made with an old school Gen 2 valve. So I'm just showing you that. So put that over there. So the first step is you take your marker apart and you get your valve out. And I'm going to show you why we put these little cuts in there with a razor knife. But then you basically grab that, turn that like that. You'll get your 680 with your pipe up tube. I've cut this. The pipe up tube is usually a little bit longer. Then you pretty much bring that down the valve, and then you squirt the 680 around the ring down there, really close to the ring. Now, if you look down this particular tube, you could see that kind of that glowing green. So you get that, and then you could kind of just turn the tube and work the 680. Will just kind of seep all around in that, around that ring there, real nice. And then you basically just stand the tube straight up somehow. You could wedge it or put it in a box or however you want to wedge it up there, and you let it dry like that for about a day. So if the 680 leaks down the tube there, what you could do is you can grab some of these long Q-tips and then dab the 680 out of the valve that goes into the marker, and then you can get it out of there like that. So after that's done and dried, your next step is to take that pipette tube, and then you can go around this whole part around the whole marker. And you do that nice and slow, and then you could use one hand to twist and then the other hand to squirt the 680 out. And you let that get into that little tiny groove right there. And then the same thing, if it drips down, you can dab it with this or a rag or something and then let that dry. So then after that's dry, you've got it glued there and there. So that's step one. Okay, now here comes step two. I like taking a razor knife and razor knifing this all the way around the tube to give it a nice gritty texture to it, because next what we're going to do, you're going to take your hardener, you put out about a $1/2 size of that, $1/2 size of that, mix it all together till it's nice and uniform in color. It'd be like a light kind of grayish blackish charcoal, I guess you'd call it. And then you could take a Q-tip or something, and then you basically put it all over the tube. So here's one that's previously done. So now this is all done past the crimp, as you could see. And you could wet a towel or your finger or something, and after it's all on there, smooth it out real nice like this, so that it's pretty uniform looking. And that'll be step two. After that dries, it's always a good time to probably pop your O-ring in. You can see this one's got it in there already, that black thing inside the tip there. Put your 90 Duro O-ring in. Now before you do that, you could put a bunch of lubricant on your fingers and let it sit on there for a minute or so and get it nice and lubricated, and then stuff that in. You can use your longer Allen here and put this up this way, and as the O-ring is on there, you can push it up this way, and then you can grab a hook, grab it like I do with this plastic pick. You can get it out with a metal pick, but then just put it back in with this one so you don't rip it or tear it or anything. So I like using this plastic pick to kind of hook it back into its place. You get that done, and then the next step after it looks like this, on the HDB, I'll tell you this right away, you can do this a little thicker because the HDB assembly, it sticks out of here. Okay, that part. On the HDRs, it sticks down a little bit. So on the HDB, you can go a little bit thicker for that reason. So next we're going to show you the HDR one that I have done. And there's that. So you can see it's got the scratch marks. It's got the hardener from the Gorilla, the JB Weld type Gorilla stuff. And then what I do is I take, depending on what grub screw you want to use, the bigger one or the littler one, I took the 440 drill bit, drilled 4 holes in here, one here, one here, one there, and then I tapped it with the tap, okay? And then I put in the 4 grub screws. So you don't have to drill actually through this, you just drill the hole through this guy, like so, and then the set screw will go right into this tube in 4 spots, right there, right there, right there, and right there, and that is solid. So quick tip on the hdr68, you don't want to use as thick as the HDB, but you do want to put it in there kind of good. You want to do a thinner layer on the hdr68, and here's the reason why. Because if you build this out, it's not going to fit back into here and the other one good at all. And so what you do for that is you just thin it out as best you can so you don't see any of this. You take a Dremel tool with a nice grinding wheel on there, and you grind out this area and the other area on the valve assembly. Not too much because this is already kind of skinny, but you grind a bunch out of there to make it fit better. And you grind that out and grind the other end out pretty good. And then you put it together, and if you have a little bit of a problem, you can always vice grip it and crimp it down a little bit. Not too much. You don't want to go too tight because you'll break this or you'll damage this. So you're going to have to find that happy medium. And if it's too thick, whoops, if it's too thick, what you want to do is sand it, grind it, or you could use a razor knife and kind of cut it. Whatever you got to do to get it to fit just right. And I think on this one I use that grind. I found that the Dremel tool is the easiest and quickest. So I grounded that all out, ground it down so it fits really good. I do use the vice grips to squeeze it together. Like I said, you're gonna find that happy medium, and you can see this thing is super snug. It ain't going nowhere, no how, no way. I've got it Loctite 680. I got the Gorilla Glue / JB Weld Gorilla Glue style. Super squeezed on the valve assembly together, and then I put 4 grub screws on there. That tube ain't going anywhere. And basically, if you do want to run CO2, I'd recommend using a disc still, because that cold CO2 I found will splatter that 680 around. Like if you see there's a little bit, it'll splatter a little bit. So use a disc. If you're using HPA, you're fine. You ain't got nothing to worry about. The HPA is the way to roll anyway with these markers. The HPA is way more consistent, and you'll have less problems with it than CO2. If you have to run CO2, like I said, I recommend you run a disc in there, and you're gonna have less problems that way. You can still get some really good numbers, and you ain't gonna have to worry about your tube leaking or breaking or any of that garbage when you have it done this way. I know Umarex came out with their new triple strength tube. It's Loctited, it's threaded, it's, you know, the best of the best now, but I'm probably still going to do some of these methods even on that tube until some
6x strength,
you know, some good testing's done. And I'm probably still going to do it because I'd rather be safe than sorry. So when you get a marker from us, you just rest assured the tube is going to be strengthened on the hdr68 and hdb68. On the hdps 50s and hdr50s, I still got a bunch of these Gen 2 and a couple actually Gen 1 valves. I'm obviously going to charge accordingly for it because they're the best. These are the old school valves that are threaded. You have no problems with these. I have limited amount, so, but just rest assured that we do have them. What else? I think that's it. So, thank you for watching the strengthening tube video for the Umarex tube, valve tube assemblies, valve bodies. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video, and we'll leave you with the Bible verse, Luke 22:36. He who hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. Thank you for watching our video once again, and we'll see you on the next one.